Hey everybody, we're back for the next session during Wakelet Community Week. This is day 4. If you're just joining us, I'm Tisha with Team Wakelet, and I'm joining you live from Manchester, England, here in the Wakelet office. We are so excited to be with all of you. Please pop in the chat where you are tuning in from, and also let us know what your favorite part of this week has been. We've had a lot of conversations with a lot of different topics. And if you have joined us today, we are talking so much about student leaders. And of course, that is one of my favorite topics ever. I see all of you saying hello and also saying hello to our bear here with the Wakelet ambassador shirt on. We're so excited to see all of you. And today's session is going to be really incredible. So I want you to get ready. We're going to have another student speaker. But before we get to that, I want to remind you to make sure that you are visiting the Wakelet Community Week profile. That's at www.wakelet.com/Wakelet Community Week 2023. That is where everything is going to be. In addition to that, you want to bookmark the Wakelet YouTube channel if you haven't done that already, and share that out. And you're sharing everything out because we have an incredible opportunity for winning contests. That would include the trip to ISTE 2024. That would also include swag, and it would include vouchers for an experience day. So a theme park day or whatever is in your area. It's going to be really cool. So how do you win that contest? You are going to post on social media. Whatever social media that you are using, you're posting it out there, and you are using the hashtag Wakelet Community Week. In addition to that, you are also going to tag all of the Wakelet accounts. Remember that Wakelet is all over the place. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on TikTok, we're on Twitter and Instagram. So make sure you're tagging us wherever you're using social media. I see so many of you in the chat. So I just want to shout out Maha. It's great to see you. Lois, I see you out there. Of course, my colleague and also a digital learning specialist here at Wakelet, Ryan McGinnis, is in the chat. Remember that any of your questions that you have, you can pop those in the chat. Our team is engaging with you there in the chat, as well as if you have questions for our panelists, we will ask those for you also. Shout out to Katie Erickson. We are so excited to hear from her daughter today. So it's going to be a really exciting time. But Team Wakelet, back in the background, it's time for us to pull up our spinner so we know who we're going to hear from first. So let's go ahead and spin the wheel and see who our first guest on the stage will be. We love the spinner. And it is Tara. So Tara, go ahead and join me here on the stage. Welcome. How are you?
Hi, everybody. I'm so glad you're here. This is such a great topic, and I'm so excited to share our story.
Isn't it such an incredible topic? I can't wait to hear your story. I'm really, really looking forward to it. I'm going to be in the background, but if you need anything, you just shout and we will hop back on together. But other than that, I'm going to let you go ahead and take the stage.
Sounds great. Thank you so much. All right, everybody, I'm so happy you're here. This is a true passion project that we brought to life here in Woodridge, Illinois, USA. And today we're talking about creating the leaders of the future, specifically through using the Wakelet Student Ambassador Program. And as you get to know how we brought this to life, you'll also hear via video a very special guest, Serena Abraham, our 8th grade student, who is going to reflect on her student ambassador program experience, the skills she's gained, and where she's going to, take it in the future. So we'll hear from her in just a little bit. My name is Tara Tessmer. I'm the instructional technology coach for Woodridge School District 68. I live in Chicago, Illinois. I'm a former English language arts teacher, and I've been in the ed tech role for the school district for about 10 years. I'm also a Google coach and trainer, and I'm a Wakelet ambassador. And when I'm not at work, you can find me going to the theater, walking my dog Luna, playing music, and eating a lot of delicious pasta. So that's a little bit about me. here's a little story that I'd like to share with you about our design process for how we kicked off this learning experience for our students. And I'm going to talk through each of the components as we go through, but really it's important that we set the stage with where this all began. And it began based on discussions with 8th grade English teachers at our school. And it's so important that when we start any coaching conversation that we begin with deep understanding and empathy and understanding the teacher's challenge, the teacher's goals, thinking about the strengths of our students. And all of this is rounded out by also visiting some classrooms. After we spend some time talking through the teacher's challenge points and goals, we select and talk through a student-centered goal that we'd like to bring to life. And then that's when we rope in the technology tool that we might look at to enhance the learning experience for students. In addition to, focusing on a student learning goal, and using technology in the classroom, we then spend some time ideating, like, where does this look like in our current reality? How might we use this tech tool? And what might it look like when we have students engage with it over the period of time for our goal? It's also important to have teachers have hands-on experience. So we prototype a couple different best models and examples and exemplars so that they have firsthand experience with the tech tool in relation to the goal. And then we spend some time testing it in the classroom. And it's so important that during this process, we collect student feedback and reflect on their experience as learners in relation to what we're trying to bring to life. So let's get started. Again, it all began with empathy, and through that Google coaching lens, when I talk with teachers during our coaching conversations, I look at these 6 areas of focus, or 6 pillars. And as we start talking about their goals for the year and things they'd like to see in their classrooms, it's so teachers are like, I want all of these, of course, right? And as the conversation continues, again, with this group of English language arts teachers, it really went on the path of how might we develop students who are taking control of their learning, who are agents of their experience. And so we targeted this idea of student agency. And in our district, we use the VIA Character Strength Survey. I highly recommend you guys checking it out. It's amazing. It's a really great survey for students and teachers alike to take in order to see in the 25 strengths that they have listed, what are our signature strengths? Because we have all 25. And when we start thinking about student agency and strength spotting, we can break them down into the areas of self-awareness. We want students being self-aware as 13, 14-year-olds. It's so important that they spend time in their content classes reflecting on their learning journey and assessing their own progress. It's also important through that student agency piece to develop lifelong learners, increase their opportunity for critical thinking and judgment as they curate content, and also increase their perspective. How are they seeing the big picture of their learning, and how are they seeing that for their future down the line? And also with student agency, it's important to offer creative opportunities. So as we have defined our goal now, we've empathized and we've defined our goal of how might we strengthen individual student agency throughout the year, it was then time to look at what tech tool we're going to use. And spoiler alert, we all know what that tech tool ended up being, but just a little behind the scenes, in Illinois, we have computer literacy standards that were adopted in 2022. And this really helped us narrow our focus of what is going to be the best tech that we can use to enhance this teacher and student learning goal. And as we look at these standards for using digital tools to curate collections, and another one that stood out to match the goal was creating and maintaining a portfolio, I just light bulb. I said, you know what? I have the perfect tech tool that we can do. And a great way to start introducing it to students is through the Student Ambassador Program. And you're going to hear a lot about the different components of the Ambassador Program from our other panelists today. But here's a preview. And so in our district, we have time 1 to 2 times per week. We ask teachers to spend a little bit of their core instruction time developing relationships with and between students and fostering those relationships across the year in classrooms. And we thought, what a good way to still continue that by using these 6 areas in the Student Ambassador Program. And so as we are now ideating of what does this look like in our current reality, we were able to turn around and say, you know what, once a week during these relationship building times, we are going to have students engage with components of the ambassador program. And again, our other agenda of how are we going to then also incorporate this through the content area is going to come through as students are able to have that firsthand experience using Wakelet through the ambassador program. So again, we did this about 1 to 2 times a week, forming relationships with and between peers. And we're talking about, this idea of curating content, and, the teachers and the students alike are like, what does that really mean? And so it's so important that we paused here and had the teachers have time to prototype their own versions of those 6 components in the ambassador program so they could speak to the strength and they could talk about how this will look like in their classroom as students are, engaging for the first time with curation. And even our students are like, well, why would I curate? Why would I build a portfolio? And we didn't answer that up front. We said, we're going to come back at the end of this experience and we want you to tell us what you think. So after our few weeks, this is an example of Serena's student ambassador portfolio that she had curated over the time. And again, we're going to hear a little bit from her in just a little bit. But what was amazing with this time was that norms were being able to be developed. Students were becoming social references as they built and curated the content in their personal collections. And you saw them turning to their shoulder partners and the people at their table teams, organically asking for help, adding encouragement and sharing files and sharing ideas for how to organize and keep everything visual in their collections, all unprompted. And by the end, they had these beautiful profiles where they were practicing what it's going to be like to put themselves out there in a public sense. And when this program was wrapping up, we realized we really created immense joy in the classrooms and ripples of influence. And here's a little snapshot of one of the teams that went through this program. But when I talk about ripples of influence, the students after the program had the confidence to curate and collaborate on collections together as they got ready for summative assessments. For example, in this picture, you see a Socratic seminar where students together across the entire class were accountable to each other, gathering resources, putting them in categories and organizing them with the thumbs up button, saying, you know what, I really like this resource. It really helped me argue or give my argument a clear defining point. We also heard students say, since we're Wakelet ambassadors, what else can we do? And we start hearing students as we're talking about, you've gone through this over the many weeks. What are your thoughts? And having conversations with students when you're testing this out is so important. And it's I would say if this is a step that is missed, make sure you put it in your calendar. I need to get student feedback on this experience. Kids were talking about having a helping hand for teachers, just getting started with Wakelet in the moment. I started hearing students say, this would be so good for social studies when we're getting ready for our debates. I kept hearing students say, I don't want to keep track of all of my tabs. I just want to stay organized. I mean, hearing an 8th grader say they want to stay organized was everything, right? I heard them talk about ideas for summer job interviews, and that, in addition to putting a resume together, they also were saying, I could see putting all my videos and what I've worked on and my pictures together in one place. Future college prep organization, and a lot of just really great feeling going into the high school next year as they leave us as 8th graders, feeling like they are very empowered to use Wakelet in their next phase of education. I just want to give a shout out when I talk about feedback. We also had a handful of students give us video feedback. And so I just want to say a huge thank you to Sadie, Alex, Zyra, Zion, Kyle, and Krisha from the class of Mrs. Bell's English class. And thank you so much for your feedback. When after the session's done, I highly encourage you to come to this collection and sift through the pages of all of the feedback that we collected from students. I just want to go really quickly before I turn it over to Serena in the video. The fact that they're saying, I am learning to try new things. I am seeking new perspective. Again, as 13 and 14-year-olds, we were so proud of them that they were coming to the realization of this all on their own. So now I'd like to introduce our student ambassador, Serena Abraham. She wishes she could be here today, but she is on her class trip to Washington, D.C., and she is going to share her point of view of what the Wakelet Student Ambassador Program meant to her. So I'm going to stop sharing so I could hand it back over to the team for the video.
Hi, Wakelet. I'm Serena. I'm very sad that I couldn't be there today, but I'm from Thomas Jefferson Junior High. So basically, the Wakelet Ambassador Program was a very fun project that we got to do. I think students like me should have the Wakelet Ambassador Program as a part of their education life. I feel like that what we can benefit out of this is our organization skills, one, and then the connection I felt with other peers was on a different level. One of the tasks for Wakelet was a cultural / traditional one, which I enjoyed so much. I just got to put all of my culture, my background, especially being Indian, I got to put so much out, but I also get to share things that nobody else knows about me. When we're doing our work, we're obviously very focused and we need to be focused, right? But with Wakelet, I feel like there was the freedom to oh, what are you doing on this? Oh, that's so cool. What's the link? One of my peers, Zion, he really likes poetry, right? I would never know literature is his thing. A poem that he did, and then he shared, it was something related to the poem, but it was a paragraph and a photo. And I was like, man, Zion has such a creativity part of him that I would have never known. I would have never seen that out of him. So, when I saw that this website was so organized, I was like, man, this can help me in the future. It just has the potential of giving each and every student time. Also, when summatives come up, time management is a big thing. We need to portion our time as well. If they have Wakelet up, it's all in one. Just gotta press, you don't have to go through your bookmarks. Also, other than the fact of organization and time management, I feel another skill that I had was I don't know how to say it, but not a skill, but more of a realization. I have peace. I have the time to do this, and I also have the time to just act in a way that I can do it for myself. It's oh, it felt fun. It kind of felt like being a kid again. You just got that time of peace. And then it was I feel like students have to realize that on their own that resources help them, other than people and teachers and adults telling them you have to use this and it will help you. It's take one day out of your curriculum, one day of the year, to let your students see if that works for them, because you want the best for your students. Not only you also want the best for them to learn throughout the year. If you can show that they can work with this and it helps them, then why not help them even more with that website? I know that sacrifice will go a long way for that student, and especially for my teacher, Miss Bell. She sacrificed that time for us, and it helped me so much because now I know I can use this. You need to let students get into it. Miss Bell just told us not what to do, but told us this is what's the title, and this is what they're giving pointers and ideas and tips, but do whatever you want. It was she gave us that freedom. So if you're a teacher watching this, I would say the best advice for you if you want to start doing Wakelet, let kids take over. Let them see it, let them play around with it, let them figure out each and every feature. If they need help, help them. Give them that freedom. It will help so much more than just spending time on each and every single thing. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful time at Wakelet Live. Signing off.
I loved that so much. And I just wanted to end with a quote from Serena. And, you know, and the rest of her peers, after we said, like, before you didn't know what it meant to curate. And now at the end, they're coming up with all these keywords. And Serena said, a creator has a period. I created. If I'm a curator, I have made something that is ongoing. It tells me I have so much space to improve. And with that, I'll pass it over to our other panelists. Thank you, Wakelet. This was a joy sharing Woodridge 68's story. Thank you for having us.
Tara, I just have to say, and I don't know, the chat was really going crazy. So we loved hearing from Serena. What a powerful message. I honestly was getting chills, and I don't know if you even know this, but I was able to work on the Student Ambassador Program when we first started that, and we used the program and beta tested with my own students, and every single thing that Serena said in that video is what I experienced as an educator for the first time in 17 years of teaching. And so I knew there was a magic sauce to that when I started hearing my students talk just like Serena. One of the things that she said, and I just have to point it out again, she said, let the kids take over. And do you know, Tara, as a teacher, we don't like doing that very often. We like to keep the control in the classroom. But one of the hashtags that I started using after my own students kind of came up with that own idea, or their own ideas of that, was students can lead. And I think that's really what Serena was saying to our teachers watching. Give your students the space, allow them to create, and you will be so surprised, because what will happen is they will flip the script on you and they will start leading you.
Yep.
And so I think that video, Tara, is evidence of your leadership with them and their leadership with you. And I just commend you so much for taking time to, get the video, work with your students. And it has honestly been a huge pleasure to meet you and hear your story. So we appreciate you so much.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you, Tara. Okay, well, I think we need to get our spinner back out. We are going to see who is next for our panel. So let's see what the spinner tells us. Christy. Christy is the winner. Hey, Christy, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Great. I love your background. You know, one of my favorite things is doing these sessions and getting to see really where you spend your days, right? So it's like you're home away from home. We're so excited to have you, and I can't wait to hear your story about student ambassadors and creating leaders of the future. So I'm going to go hop backstage, and I'll come back on with you in just a little bit.
Sounds good. My name is Christy. I work at two different schools, Northside High School and Jacksonville Commons Middle School. And this was my first year at the high school. And so I really wanted to do something to help with student portfolios. Our high school is in a military town. It's very transient. We have kids coming in and out, and we wanted to create something for them that was theirs, that kind of showcased everything about them that they could use for job applications, that they could use for recommendations to hand teachers, just kind of curate things that are all about them using the Wakelet Ambassador Program. Our school is an AVID demonstration school. And so AVID, if you're not familiar, is Advancement via Individual Determination. And we use it as an elective here to help students kind of create a group for accountability. They can help with tutorials and reflecting on new content. But one of the things they use is data tracking and self-assessment. And so we really wanted to give our students a way to have a place to put all of that information. So how did we make it work? So with the tasks that are set in the Ambassador Program, we had some tasks that we wanted to really make our own to fit with our school goals. And being an AVID demonstration school, there were a couple of things that we wanted to change with the tasks. So I emailed Amy at Wakelet and asked, is there any way that we can change some of the tasks to help meet the needs of our students here at our school. And of course, without hesitation, she said, yes, make it the way you need it to be, so that your students can feel like they have some ownership. So with the original tasks that were up there, we kept the curation all about me, but we had it more of a high school twist. So we had them add their accolades, their GPA, the clubs that they were involved in, and any recognitions or awards that they had received. And then we changed the critical thinking perspective and we changed that to a college roadmap. So AVID students were looking at first generation to attend college. And so we really want them to have that at the forefront of their mind when they are deciding which college to attend. So with that, students were able to pick the college. They were able to go online and see the different things that were needed for admission into the college and kind of get a sense of a roadmap to get there. We kept the creativity design it. They really enjoyed making the flag and designing what they think that should look like and why. And then we kept the collaboration, the team playlist. They really enjoy the team playlist. That is creating a music playlist of your choice. That is school appropriate, of course. So that was a little difficult for them, but they were able to figure it out.
Hey, Christy.
And then the last one.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I just want to double check. Are you sharing your screen? I'm not sure. Okay, there we go. Okay, we just want to make sure that we are able to show that because all of your content, we're all engaged with you, but I want to make sure if you have the presentation that we're sharing that. I'm going to hop back off. You continue.
Okay. All right. Now that you can see, good. Okay. So here is where I was talking about changing some of the tasks. So communication, we were changing we kept the student choice presentation. I thought this one to be very interesting. That's kind of where they got to pick a topic that interested them and find the pros and cons or the different sides and what a resolution to a problem would be. So it was interesting to see what they picked as their topic. And so I just kind of wanted to tell you how we got started. So how do you get something like this started at a high school or at any level? I'm a facilitator on the campus, so I teamed up with a teacher and I just said, I'm really interested in doing student portfolios. I really want to get a twist into AVID, and they were able to kind of team up with me to start. You could also start in your own classroom. But just kind of trying to keep it small when you start out, because it does get, if you have 100 kids trying, to be a Wakelet student ambassador, it's a lot to keep up with. So we kept our group pretty small to start out. When do the students work on the tasks? So there are 6 different tasks. We have something called Power Hour. And what that is it's kind of a session that students can sign up for. To determine where they want to go for that 50 minutes, whether they need tutoring help. Wakelet Ambassador was one of the sessions they could sign up for, and it was once a week, and we targeted our AVID elective students. So some student examples down here. This was one of our first Wakelet student ambassadors. She was really excited to get a t-shirt and to complete the program. But I'll show you, so her college roadmap, we had them tell us the requirements for attending, what's college life like there, a program that interests you, and your why for attending. So she chose Duke University, and she gave us some information about it. She told us why she wanted to go and the things that she was interested in, the requirements for attending, what GPA she had to have. So she kind of mapped out her college roadmap. This one here was the one that we kept that I thought was pretty interesting, where they picked the current event topic and then created a presentation. And they had to tell the history, the relevance, and the solutions. And this student picked cryptocurrency and the pros and cons of using that. So I thought that was pretty exciting to see the topics that they chose for this one. But I'm gonna share, we have a student, Sydney. She is currently testing. They are doing end of the year testing right now. And so she cannot join us live, but she created her Wakelet Student Ambassador program with all 6 topics. And she's going to share a little bit about what she liked and the things that she is going to continue to do as she continues through high school. Hi, everyone. I'm here with Sydney, a student at Northside High School. And Sydney, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is Sydney Mahone. I'm in 10th grade. I'm an avid honor student. I'm a part of Quillen's Roll National Honor Society and Beta and more clubs here at Northside.
Very good. Yes, Sydney is a very active student here at Northside High School and was a part of our Wakelet Student Ambassador program that we started. Sydney, tell us how you got involved in this whole process.
So as an avid student, our teachers introduced us into Wakelet as a way to keep all our accolades, clubs, and other ways in other things that we do in Northside to like in a set thing. And it helps us with like applications, I would say, just all together being more organized.
Very good. So it gives you all of the things that you've kind of accumulated. We said Sydney's very active here at Northside. So she has a lot of clubs that she's involved in, has a lot of awards that she's won, and having the All About Me in the Wakelet portfolio helped her kind of bring all of that together so that if she was, what'd you say, looking for applications or recommendations, she can provide somebody with this that shows all of her things about her. Oh, how did you find the time to work on becoming a Wakelet ambassador?
I find my most time on Wakelet during Power Hour at school in our Avid Enrichment class, working towards the collages and collections due at certain dates. Yeah.
Very good. So we were able to kind of provide our students with guidelines from the Wakelet Student Ambassador program to kind of meet their needs. So they would come join us during Power Hour, which is about 50 minutes of the day, once a week to work on their collections and to kind of gather their resources together. How does completing the student portfolio help you progress as a young adult with so many accomplishments?
I believe this portfolio teaches me important skills about organization and being more timely while working. I also plan to use this, like I said, in job applications and projects and everything. And I just think this is something I'm going to continue to use because I like Wakelet.
Very good. Good. Yes, it does keep them organized, keeps our students organized. We really thank you for joining us. I know you're in exams and you've got lots going on this week because school is almost done. But thank you, Sydney, and we can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Sydney is a sophomore here at our high school. And I just, we think about she has 2 more years and she already has so many things in her collection that when she continues on through the rest of her high school career, she will have an abundance of things to be able to show future job applications or college applications to kind of show all of the things that she has done here at Northside in one set location. So that's kind of been where we started with our program. We've started very small. I think we've had 5 students so far complete it. And then we're just going to continue it next year. So we're going to see where it takes us. But that's kind of how we've added an Avid twist to our student portfolios.
Okay, Christy. I have questions. I do. And some of them are coming from the chat and some of them are my own questions. The first question I want to ask is, how did you come up with new topic ideas?
Yeah, so I think that was collaboration with the teacher. So it was our Avid coordinator, and they already have to do these things. So they already have to have data tracking and track their GPA and track their scores and track their grades and self-assessment. So where am I going from here? And they already have to start looking at colleges, as freshmen, we take them on tours. So I was trying to find a way to bring all of that together in the student portfolio, still keeping the Wakelet Ambassador Program at the forefront, but trying to mesh it to the needs of our students.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. Now, my next question really does come from the audience, and I think it is a question that when we were working on the Student Ambassador Program in 2020, 2019, you know, it's a question I'm asked all the time. And because I was high school, you know, a lot of teachers would assume that it was difficult to adapt those tasks down to the lower grade levels. I just want to get your opinion on that. Do you feel like those tasks are adaptable no matter what age of the learner?
I do. So our AVID elective program is 9th through 12th. So some of the ones that completed it are 9th graders. Some are 10th graders. So, and I think it could go, you know, all the way down to, I do think middle schoolers, 8th graders. I really think if you ask them to complete something at that level, they will rise to the occasion. I think sometimes we get narrow-minded and thinking they can't do something, but they can. They just have to be challenged.
You're absolutely right about that. And I think even taking that to the lower grade levels, I know we have someone in the chat who teaches, you know, 7-year-olds. And I will tell you, Ryan and I present on portfolios all the time. And one of the things I wanted to point out is really how Sydney was showcasing her All About Me collection. Each of those tasks become a single collection. And when you pull all of those collections together, that begins that student learning portfolio that then grows with them. So I think it's really important to note that the portfolio doesn't have to be, you know, millions of collections. If you have 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds and you're teaching elementary, start with a single collection, right? And limit the number of items that they're putting in those collections. Honestly, just really incredible hearing from Sydney. I wrote down project management skills. I wrote down, you know, when Serena was doing the video with Tara, you know, the design thinking process and organizational skills. And I think what we have to remember is, tell me if I'm wrong when you were experiencing this with your students, but they were learning those skills that are going to transfer to college and career. Is that your experience?
Absolutely. I mean, if you show up with a Wakelet to your job interview of this is all of the skills I have, these are all of the things that I know how to do. I mean, that right there shows them who you are as a person pretty quickly. And to start so young, they just, you know, you'll have 4 years to keep curating this information about yourself.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Christy. And please tell Sydney that we wish her all the luck on her exams. And thank you so much for sharing that video. We appreciate you. And I know that you and your story and Sydney have inspired people in the chat because it is hopping over there. So I hope you'll stay and engage with some of those viewers. We're going to go ahead and do we need to spin the wheel, Wakelet? Team Wakelet back there, maybe we're going to spin the wheel. If you didn't know, we have one more speaker. Well, technically 2. We have a very, very special guest. We have Chelsea Hawkins, and we're going to bring her up. And I just, you know, I'm going to take this moment because I always do, and she's going to laugh. But I know that we have some special people watching right now. We have Katie Erickson and Jill Hughes, and I saw you in the chat, and I'm pointing you out. If you did not know this, Chelsea Hawkins, she is at a Wakelet school. That's the first thing you should know, yes. So kudos, Chelsea, to you for engaging your entire school community with Wakelet. And the second thing is, most of you do not know this, some of you might, but I grew up in the town where Chelsea is teaching and where our very special student speaker guest is from. Britt, welcome to the stage. We're so excited to hear from you live. So I'm gonna go backstage. I'm going to let you two take over, but you know I'm coming back for some questions, so be ready for that.
Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Hi, I'm Chelsea Hawkins. This is my friend Britt. She is an 8th grader here at Seminole Junior High. That's where we are. Again, Tish said we're from her same hometown, so we are in Seminole, Texas. and I am an instructional technologist here. I love Wakelet. I love the Wakelet platform. And so whenever we were looking at adding some new things, and as an instructional technologist, I'm always trying to find new adaptable ideas, new platforms that are just so great for kids and great for our teachers. The versatility of this program, the ease of use of this program really led me there. And so when I saw the Wakelet Schools program, I, of course, said, this is something we can do. I ran into my principal and said, here's the instructions. I'll do everything. I promise. It's going to be great, but I really want to do this program. I want everyone in the world to know, little tiny town Seminole, and that we're a Wakelet school, and I really think we can do this. And so, of course, he was just said, okay, have at it. My teachers are great. My staff is great. My students are great. And so one of the parts of the Wakelet Schools program is actually the Student Ambassador program. And so looking at that, I really had to figure out, me as an instructional technologist, how can I get everyone on board? How can I be in classrooms and get everyone to do this with me? We are 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and about 650 students. So that was a really large number for just me. So instead, what I decided to do was to grab Miss Erickson, which is Britt's mom. She is our broadcasting news sponsor. So she runs our Powwow News program, and they have a couple of kids in there. She ranges from 10 to 12 usually on who's on our broadcasting team. So I thought, well, that's a pretty good number. But who else could I get involved? So then I thought about our student council and our student council officers. And so they've got, 4 or 5 student council officers, and we have a period throughout the day that's called foundations. And this is the time where our Powwow News team gets together and our student council officers get together. And that's when they get all their work done. And it's every day, but it's only about 30 minutes every day. So I went into both of those sponsors and said, hey, this is what I want to do. Can I use your kids? Can I steal up some of their time throughout the week to run the Student Ambassador program, and showed it to them. And of course, both of those sponsors jumped on board and said, whatever you need us to do, we'll be there to help. So the one thing that I really love about the Student Ambassador program is everything is laid out for you. Wakelet does an amazing job at sending you all the resources that you need. And then the way that you can just kind of tailor it to how it works best for you. How is it going to work best for your kids? And so there's only 6 modules. And so me going in to introduce that to the students also, like, say, hey, I want you to jump on board with this. I want you guys to be the first ones. I want y'all to run through this program with me. It's easy. I think it'll be great for all of you to enhance these skills. They're already learning design skills in Powwow News. They're learning leadership skills in student council. And so really, this was just a way for them to put all of that together and organize it and show everyone how awesome they are. And so the 6 modules that are in there, they were so easy for them to use. They really didn't need any direction. Every now and then they might needed some troubleshooting help from me or Miss Erickson, but most of the time they just took off and ran with it. And so for me to be able to talk to these kids, because I'm not their classroom teacher, I didn't see them every day. I have other tasks and I needed to be reminded, what was going on. So what we did was we created a Google Classroom. And then I had all the students enroll in this Google Classroom. I also added in both those sponsors as co-teachers. So we were able to communicate with each other, especially since I'm not their classroom teacher. I gave them a few resources, like we had a couple of different ideas, but we were able to pull them into a Wakelet classroom through that Google Classroom. I added those sponsors as teachers in there. And then really, I just gave them basic information. I gave them the basic information that Wakelet made and what their modules were, and simplified it for them. The third one that's on there is our SD goal, and that was the goal 3 for Wakelet schools. And then the other one that I added in for them was the good stuff. So every time somebody accomplished something, they got a certificate, they earned a badge, they finished the Student Ambassador program, we took their picture, we put them on social media, and Wakelet was so amazing at just praising them and cheering them on and just keep going. We can't wait to see it. Well, not all my students have social media, or maybe they're not following Wakelet. And so I made sure to screenshot all of those and add those into a collection for them so that they could see, like, Wakelet is behind you. They're cheering you on, and just all the positive feedback that they were getting. So we used the Google Classroom to communicate with each other. So when the students finished one of the modules, so we could say Britt finished the first one, which was all about me. So she would just go into Wakelet and just on the stream, nothing really fancy. She would just say, hey, Ms. Hawkins, here's my link. And she would post her link to her all about me. And I would look at it. And so either I would say, that looks perfect, thank you, it's amazing. Or I might give some instant feedback like, hey, can you add in a couple more? The instructions said to add in 15 links and you only added in 12. And so my feedback was very short. They created it, made it however they wanted, but as long as it followed those basic guidelines that they were given in those template collections, then it worked for me. Some of them, it was good conversation starters for me, and I would get to go in and talk to them about it. But most of the time, we use that Google Classroom for them to tell me, like, hey, I finished this collection. Will you go look at it? And then another great thing that we did, here's my sponsors. So this is Miss Wood. She's our student council sponsor. That's Miss Erickson. That's our news team sponsor. They were so great to jump in this with me. So one of the things that I added in our Google Classroom was it was actually a Canva comic strip board. And so instead, what we did was we made them into sticker boards. Our students don't have emails that they share. And so having a badge or maybe just printing it out, that didn't seem fun enough for me. So what we did was we created a comic strip template. I had everybody claim a page and then design their page. So that helped them also take ownership of what we were doing and what we were looking at. So they put in backgrounds, they put in extra elements, they added their name. And so every time they finished a collection, I would give them their badge, their sticker on their sticker board. And then we also would give them a certificate. And then every time we gave them a certificate, I would print them out, I would have them laminated. And so they'd get a certificate for every module they completed. And then I also gave them a cupcake. Because I'll tell you this about kids and especially middle school kids, and Britt is laughing because she knows you can give them food. They work for food, especially cupcakes. And so every time I showed up, they finished a module, I would show up with their certificate, and then I would also show up with a cupcake. And so that really helped. They loved it. They loved me showing up. I would show up during random classes. This one I showed up during Britt's science class, was like, hey, I got to interrupt for a few minutes. And then it also kind of showed everyone else in the room, like, what is Britt doing? Why is she getting cupcakes? Mostly they wanted to know, why did you get a cupcake? And so here's a few of our other students. I've tried to, stay on track and keep up with them. Have a point where I check once a week to make sure that I'm keeping up with their modules. But Google Classroom was a great way for them to let me know what they were doing and what they were finished with. So when they completed the Student Ambassador Program, they would get not only that last certificate for their 6th module, they would get an extra certificate that says you're officially a student ambassador, but then I also printed out those sticker boards. Their little comic strips that they made, we printed those out. So when they got done with the student ambassador program, they ended up with 3 certificates laminated that day, and of course a cupcake. And I always took their picture. We would promote them on social media to let their parents know, let their peers know what's going on. But then the really great part of it is some of our parents who didn't know what we were doing, they may not have known, we're trying to do the Wakelet Schools program or what the Student Ambassador program was. But I started getting questions on our school social media saying, what is Wakelet? What is the Student Ambassador program? How do I get my kid in that? And so that's been really, really awesome to see. And I can't wait for next year to see, who our new students are and how we're going to adapt this. And I always want to grow and do bigger and have bigger dreams and goals. And so I can't wait. It's been awesome to see. These are all of our students that finished by Christmas. So we started this program about September. And then I told everyone, if you can get done by Christmas break, we will have a party. I want to celebrate your hard work because this is extra work that they were doing throughout the day. They're still trying to do their news team stuff. They're still trying to do student council, everything else that they're involved in. I added to their plate, but these kids were amazing. These are our leaders of our campus. They crave enrichment, and this was a perfect fit for them. And so when we got to December, I said, I want to have a party. I want to celebrate you. And they were all tired of pizza. And so they said, please don't give us pizza. All of our parties are pizza. So we had a chicken nugget party. My admin is amazing. I said, I've got these students. They work so hard. Please, can we go buy them some lunch? And so we were able to run down and have a chicken nugget party and just celebrate and laugh and kind of talk about our favorite parts of the program. Here's a couple of our student collections. So this one was critical thinking. And so looking at this was done by another one of our students. What I really loved, and this was just module 2, and it's about perspective. What I really loved about this is that everything is just whatever they want to do, school appropriate, whatever they want to do. So especially for this versus perspective argument, they got to decide their topics. And I think that was one of my favorite ones, is just to kind of see where they went with it. A couple of them were, fun or light, like pizza. One was, what pizza is better, Pizza Hut or Domino's? And that one was funny for me, but I actually really enjoyed the links and the argument that was put into it. This one is why paper is better than a digital platform. And she added in some extra links and arguments. And then they had to do the reverse side, why digital platform is better than paper. And so this was only the second module, but I will say it was probably my favorite to read after they're all about me's, just because you kind of get to see where their brain goes on all of it. This was an all about me collection. It was very simple, but I liked that they could keep it simple, because that is another thing that I like about Wakelet, is it can be as simple as you want, or it can be as detailed as you want. And so she just went in and added some links, but then she also used the descriptions at the bottom to explain why she was adding those pictures. Okay, now we're to Britt. So this is my friend Britt. Was an 8th grader. She's going to be big and move on to high school and be a freshman next year. But I'm so proud of Britt, and I'm going to cry. And some of the girls like Britt. They are quiet. They're behind the scenes, but they're amazing people. And one thing that I really saw in this program is the leadership and the confidence. And I'm not sure, but Tish, we may need to add in an extra C to all the Wakelet C's, because confidence is something that I really, really saw come out in a lot of these kids that went through the Student Ambassador program. So I'll let Britt talk and answer a few questions, but I am going to bring up her portfolio, because I absolutely loved her portfolio. She added in a lot of the things that we did throughout the Student Ambassador program, but then she also added in all the Canva activities that she's done for her other classes. So I'm going to let Britt talk just a little bit.
I really like the Student Ambassador program. It was really fun. The reason why I think students should take it is if they like a challenge. You can improve in your technology skills and your creative skills and showcase it. My favorite part of the Student Ambassador program was doing the different types of projects. I liked using my creativity and skills in many different ways. The skills that I was able to build on was collaboration, communication, and putting it all together in Wakelet. The program will help me in my future, because I want to continue working with technology in high school in creative ways. I'll be able to use these skills and this experience in many different ways in the future. This program was really fun. There was a lot of different ways that we could use our creative skills. So.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Britt. Those were all of her main collections. I can't wait to see what she does in high school. I'm sure she'll continue to use this program. Again, her mom is our Tech Apps teacher. She's our broadcast sponsor, and she's another one of our great Wakelet users. And it's one of the reasons why I wanted her to jump on this with me. So this is her teacher collection. We, as a Wakelet school, for sure, we use this all the time. Our teachers are jumping on board. Ms. Erickson creates her things in there. She even does our Powwow News episodes in a Wakelet collection. This is an easy way for us to share it out for everyone. So we absolutely love the Wakelet platform. We love what it's done for our students, for our kids. We've had a great time, and it's been amazing. So thank you, Wakelet, for creating something that's simplified and easy enough for us to use with our students and our staff, where it's not something that's overwhelming. It's something that's easy, and everyone just jumped on board and said, okay, let's do it.
Wow. Thank you guys so much. I am so excited. I will tell you, the chat went crazy for the chicken nugget party, and they started talking about cake and all kinds of things in the chat. But I want to bring everybody back together. Britt, you said that you loved this program, and I want to know, what was the most challenging part of the Student Ambassador Program for you?
The most challenging part was probably, like, I don't know, like, I guess using different skills in different ways that we haven't used before.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think that, and I think that's the challenging part, but it seems like you have really, really exceeded that. Chelsea, can you tell me from your perspective, what was the challenging part for you as far as implementing this program?
The most challenging part was probably getting the nerves to go talk to my principal. I mean, after that, it really isn't, it's not challenging at all. And that is absolutely one of the best things about Wakelet is this student ambassador program can be used by anyone, anywhere. We were talking age earlier. I've got a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old, and they could go through this program because it is that easy to use and it's that adaptable. And we tailored it to what we needed. And we chose a small group of students that we knew wanted to be enriched. They wanted to seek out those leadership roles, and it was perfect for them. But I know we could go down to 6th grade. Right now, we only had 8th and 7th graders doing it, and we could easily go down to our 6th grade and bring them in and use this program also.
Absolutely. Well, thank you both for sharing. I'm going to go ahead and bring Tara back up. Christy had to hop off, but I just want to commend you both. One single piece of advice, Chelsea and Tara, for anybody who's getting started, not only with Wakelet, but maybe thinking about implementing this program in their school. What advice do you have?
I would say just do it. Just jump in, just try it. If it doesn't work at first, then you've learned what didn't work and you can move on and try something else because you'll never know unless you try.
Yeah, and I would echo that and say just ask your students for advice as well and say, how do you think we should use Wakelet after we've spent some time through this ambassador program? But also lean on them and say, like, how did you insert that? Can you tell me about why you found that video, and hear about their process? Student voice is so important with this.
I really like that, Tara. Hear about their process. I think that really gives them space to validate the choices they're making and really builds that confidence, like you were saying, in that critical thinking process. So we're so thankful to both of you. We appreciate you so much. I just want to remind everybody on the chat before we say goodbye, your certificate link is going to be in the chat. Make sure you're visiting the Community Week profile. And the next session that's coming up is called Creating Safe Spaces in Dangerous Times. Misbah is going to be joining you at the top of the hour. So make sure you come back for that. And we will see you all again soon. Thank you again, Chelsea and Tara. We appreciate you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.